Coming up on Look Today, well, Saratoga Springs may gain 800 new jobs through a consolidation. I've got details. And guess what? Another fire strikes a Glens Falls apartment building. I've got those details. And renovations on the Queensbury Hotel in Glens Falls will restore the classic look to that great hotel. It's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, and happy Friday. I'm J. Hood Jackson, and this is Look Today. In tonight's program, I sit down with Samantha Bosshart. She's the Executive Director of the Saratoga Springs Preservation Foundation. And we're joined by Seth Finkel. He's the honorary co-chair to that foundation. And they're here to discuss the upcoming Trask Art Show that's happening on September 29. I also talked to Ann Costigan. She's the Executive Director for the Center of Disability Services. And we're joined by Joan Veely. They're here to talk about the upcoming Bowl-a-thon fundraiser this weekend in honor of Joan's late son, Brian. Plus, we've got your weekend weather for the Tri-North counties. But first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, ACO, a financial services company located within Saratoga Springs, provides the city with 200 jobs. Now, the company is looking to consolidate its offices from other regions, potentially bringing an additional 800 positions to Saratoga. Well, currently, their offices are located in Congress Park Center. Well, we spoke to Mayor Joanne Yepsen about this.
They've told us that they would like to consolidate and bring all their employees and their entire company under one roof, so to speak, onto one campus. And we feel very strongly that it should be downtown Saratoga Springs because they're already here. This is a great quality of life for their employees. It does a world of good for our downtown businesses to have people shopping and having lunch on Broadway. And we feel strongly about the fact that this is job creation. You know, Saratoga Springs needs to look to the future of where the next jobs are coming from. And this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we're going to fight hard for.
And the Saratoga City Council, by the way, is proactively encouraging the consolidation to take place. The council recently voted on a resolution that would create more parking spaces. We spoke to the mayor about this.
There's going to be a real parking demand for that side of Broadway, and so the city is looking at this anyways as to how we as a municipality can solve the parking needs through a parking structure, perhaps a private-public partnership, and we're talking to all sorts of private and public entities in order to put together a package deal that we think will take us into the future for our parking needs and be able to allow ACO Company to expand right here in Saratoga Springs.
In other news, well, another serious fire broke out this morning in Glens Falls. The fire damaged a Glens Falls apartment building on Culvert Street, and it had started around 8 o'clock this morning. The fire broke out within seconds, and firefighters responded immediately to help the residents. Now, around 13 residents live in this building. There are no reported injuries, and currently the cause is unknown. And we spoke to Bill Davidson. He's the owner of the building.
You know, they lost their home. Thank God they have their, out safely, but they lost their home and probably all of their belongings, and that, that's a terrible situation.
I thought that was real nice that Bill was more concerned about the residents than he was about the building. Switching from news to weather, well, a frost advisory has been issued across the region. Tonight it's expected to drop down to the 40s. Let's see how the weekend is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, we're going to head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first weekend forecast. Back to the news. Well, we've got more updates on the renovations taking place at the Queensbury Hotel in Glens Falls. It's big news for Glens Falls. Yesterday, we told you that 2 development agencies are encouraging the Glens Falls Council to vote on an application for the New York Restore grant. Now, the grant would be used for further renovations at the hotel. Well, recently, the old carpet in the lobby was taken out, And guess what? A marble floor was revealed. A new ballroom will take shape as well, providing plenty of spaces for big conferences and parties. Now, the renovations will give that hotel the classic and traditional look and restore it to its former glory. That's good. We spoke to Tyler Herrick about the renovations.
A couple weeks ago, we started to peel back some of the carpeting that had been there, I think, since the 70s. And looking at what the subsurface was, we discovered that the original 1926 terrazzo floor was there. So we started peeling it back layer by layer. And, you know, we have a crew in there now trying to restore all the little kind of scratches and dents that may have come over the 90 years. But we think it's going to be a great asset to the property. And it's been there for 90 years, so hopefully it can be there for another 90.
Up next, I sit down with Samantha Bosshart. She's the Executive Director of the Saratoga Springs Preservation Foundation. We're joined by Seth Finkel. He's the Honorary Co-Chair to the Foundation. They're here to discuss the upcoming Trask Art Show that's happening on September 29. Plus, I also sit down with Ann Costigan. She's the Executive Director for the Center of Disability Services. And we're joined by Joan Veely. They're here to talk about the upcoming Bowl-a-thon fundraiser this weekend in Saratoga in honor of Joan's late son, Brian. But first, if you've seen who's happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? You can give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. It's Friday, so I want to thank Jesselyn and Drew and Andrew, Jack and Joel, and Norm for making this show possible each week. Got a couple of lookouts tonight. A couple of things to do this weekend. First is that antique art and sale that's going on at the Adirondack Museum up in Blue Mountain Lake. It's a fabulous show with all kinds of amazing stuff for sale. So make it up there if you want. Also, the Saratoga Film Festival is happening at right here in downtown Saratoga. Check that out. And probably last but not least, it's the Harvest Moon. Now, if you're watching the late broadcast, well, you already missed it, but go outside and take a look at it anyway. But if you're catching the early one, it comes up at just a little bit after 7 p.m. tonight, and it's a cool, crisp night, and it's a killer moon. There you have it. All right, tonight on Look TV, we've got an episode of Her Looks and a bunch of episodes of Tracks. Have a safe weekend, and don't forget, you can tune in Monday night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.